At approximately 8:48 on the morning of September 11th, 2001, the first pictures of the attack on America were broadcast, and it changed the world as we knew it. Today, in the aftermath of 9/11, national security has quickly moved into the spotlight and become an integral part of the American way of life. Hi, I'm John Holden, your host of National Security Close-Up. Join me as we show you the latest advancements and newest technologies being used and developed to keep America safe. When responding to an emergency, there is no telling what the situation can present, especially in unfamiliar territory and when lives are at stake. Our first story sheds new light on an old idea that is helping guide responder teams during dark times. When Scott Sparks, a firefighter, answered a call, he ran a mental checklist of the situations he might encounter. Communications would be a challenge because of the environment.
All the gear that we wear, our protective gear, limits our communications abilities. SCBAs that we wear often limit our abilities to use radios. Building interior with the lighting may be on or off limits our abilities to use visual communications. We're never really familiar with the buildings that we may be entering, the layout in the buildings as far as the doorways and the hallways and the corridors.
Have you ever heard the sound of one hand clapping? For Scott and all other emergency responders, it's a very dangerous sound indeed, the sound of silence.
When you're around a lot of steel, like a train derailment, the radios get interfered with all the steel, and you cannot hear and use the radios unless you're out in the open. Plus, with all the heavy equipment running, hearing anything over the radio is very, very difficult. You've got to be able to communicate visually. If you watch people who are around a derailment, they'll use a lot of hand signals. You've got to be able to see, especially at night, you've got to be able to see those signals so that the operators and the people can stay safe around the heavy equipment.
So what can emergency responders do when hearing or talking is not an option? The answer lies in mankind's most basic sense, vision. Because we rely so heavily on our sense of sight, we are able to send and receive sophisticated signals that utilize our ability to see. But in order to see, we need light. To meet this challenge, many safety and emergency agencies are now improving their visual communication tools with a unique concept called Enhanced Linear Mobile Optics, or ELMO Light. ELMO provides emergency responders a continuous path of light that not only allows them to see, but offers them the ability to communicate visually. When working in buildings compromised by catastrophe and loss of power, or in tunnels and other dark environments, emergency responders can delineate an area or a path using flexible illumination. By using intermittent or color-based signals, ELMO can also be used to communicate.
When you have a visual communication tool like the ELMO Light, that allows you to communicate with your responders. You can follow that into a scene like a collapsed building or a hazmat scene. And when you start bringing people out, that allows you to follow that same path out that you came in safely at. That'll allow you to save lives.
As we face the complexities of new threats to our security, along with other emergencies such as natural disasters and building fires, it is critical that emergency responders like Scott have the most advanced tools available to help them succeed. It could be a matter of life or death. In today's Defense News Report, the U.S. Department of Defense is about to award contracts for a slew of new weapons that could reshape the business portfolios of major American defense contractors. At stake is an unusual lineup of programs worth about $40 billion. Analysts say these programs are the first wave of major military development programs that reflect the transformation of the Bush administration, where a Cold War platform is being replaced by a network-driven concept of operations. Cold War missiles will soon be destroyed. Nicaragua will destroy 350 surface-to-air missiles, which were obtained from the Soviet Union in the 1980s, partially bowing to the U.S. demands to scrap the missile stockpile. A new polymer coating has been tested by the Office of Naval Research, showing that it may be possible to protect existing military vehicles with a spray-on armor that is lighter, cheaper, and possibly tough as steel. When sprayed on the bottom of vehicles, this coating could protect troops inside against explosions and shrapnel. The U.S. military is treating combat stress in Iraq with preventative measures as close to the front line as possible. This is a new approach that could reduce stigma and quickly return troops to their posts. The U.S. Marine Corps and Army are expressing a need to create new sea bases. Under the sea base concept, Marines and soldiers would deploy from a flotilla. When teamed with the right aircraft, cargo handling, and operating technology, it would improve our current ships' ability to launch air and land-based operations. It would also reduce our nation's reliance on other countries' permission to use their ports and airfields to launch airstrikes and offload cargo. That's all for this Defense News Report. Stay tuned for advancements in detection and tracking of public health emergencies and how new defense technologies are seeping into the consumer arena. Next on National Security Close-Up. Every day we take it for granted that someone somewhere is working hard to provide us with the necessary protection it takes to prevent a major health crisis or a bioterrorist event. Here's a look at how some public agencies are using new information technologies to protect our way of life. Detecting or tracking a public health risk before it becomes a crisis is critical to public safety and can save lives. In 2003, an outbreak of SARS created a public health scare that was felt around the world. As a result of that epidemic, events like the anthrax attack of 2001, many government agencies, healthcare agencies, and first responders have sought out new ways to detect, warn, and possibly prevent public health emergencies. To answer this challenge, information systems now allow public health officials to sort through raw data and spot trends that may indicate the beginning of a public health or bioterrorist event. These systems can also help officials detect where a disease or bioterror outbreak began, so that the threat can be traced from its point of origin and allow officials to track its progress, treat those affected, and prevent it from spreading further. One company, Scientific Technologies Corporation, has taken the initiative to partner with public health agencies to implement a syndromic surveillance system called Early Alert that offers a proactive approach to fighting public health or bioterror threats. Already, several states have begun to provide better protection for the public by implementing these systems.
The state of New Hampshire is working very hard on emergency preparedness right now, and particularly in regard to responding to bioterrorism. We're very interested in detecting trends and outbreaks as early as possible, because if we can do that, we can prevent illness and prevent the situation from becoming larger. So these information technology tools really help us detect trends earlier and detect outbreaks earlier so we can respond earlier and prevent it from escalating.
As most recently demonstrated with the avian influenza, disease has no boundaries. Early detection, early warning, and overall preparedness are the keys to minimizing the impact in human, social, and economic costs of disease.
When a cold or flu is spreading in a community, long before people go to the doctor or to the emergency room, they go to the drugstore to get tissues or orange juice or over-the-counter cold remedy. The Scientific Technologies software gathers all that data for the entire community and analyzes it and presents it to the health department. The health department can see extremely early if there's an outbreak spreading in the community, and they can see the speed and the severity of that outbreak and decide whether or not they need to make an intervention.
The ability to provide better homeland security through information management is just one of the many ways in which new technologies are helping us to preserve our freedom and the American way of life. Preserving our freedom is what military troops are trained for, and without the right tools, the battle can't be won. In our next story, you will see how an influx of new advanced technological equipment is helping keep those on the front line rolling along. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These words from the Declaration of Independence form the fabric of the American way of life. But today, in order to preserve our freedom, nearly 500,000 military troops stationed in over 146 countries risk their lives to protect our way of life. For our national defense, these troops have been trained to conduct traditional military missions, air patrols, and maritime defense. With the advent of the Homeland Security Act, they've also become skilled in emergency response for terrorist attacks, natural disasters, and they also provide special event security support. In their hands are sophisticated equipment and technologies, which enable them to provide security for a nation of millions. Given that task, they need to feel confident that the tools they are using are dependable. And in fact, it is surprising how some seemingly ordinary things can make a big difference when it comes to moving an army.
Tires are very important to the U.S. military because it's the trucks that oftentimes get the equipment there and then also bring the provisions and the people that are needed to sustain operations.
The tires are used for worldwide operations and must be able to operate anywhere at any time under any conditions.
The most challenging thing about military tires is they have a variety of operating environments, and operating in any one of those may not be too difficult. But when you have to have one tire that operates in all of those environments, because the military doesn't want to change tires every time they go from the mud or the sand or the snow to another operation where it might be very high temperatures and sand, from very cold environments with cold temperatures and snow. They want one tire that can do all those things.
In fact, the same technology that is transporting our American troops in the field is being applied to consumer tires right here at home.
Our advancements in sidewall protection will be of interest to many applications, from commercial trucks running up and down the road to construction vehicles, mining vehicles. There are a lot of applications where that sidewall protection will also be an improvement. And just the safety of having extended capability to continue after the tire has gone flat.
Now, tires may not be what you think of when you say high-tech military equipment, but they actually are. The development of new tire technology is an important contribution to our military readiness. The ability to quickly deploy soldiers and keep them moving is a critical element in the military's mission. Next on National Security Close-Up, ways to protect mission-critical applications in today's information age, as well as how to protect companies' information assets with identity management. With the rise of the information age, computers are quickly becoming a medium for lucrative crime. Today, we are going to show how companies are securing their networks and mission-critical applications. Computers, networks, and the applications running across them need to be secure. They are the lifeblood of companies worldwide. If a system is attacked, it can put the company's core business operations in jeopardy. As the number of web-based mission-critical applications grow, so does our vulnerability.
Existing security tools, including firewalls and antivirus software, are unable to provide adequate protection against application-level attacks. This leaves organizations exposed to unknown vulnerabilities.
True damage resulting from an attack may never be fully recognized. It may lay the foundation for a future attack or enable the interception of sensitive information. These types of attacks are targeted at virtually any organization.
In today's environment, most of the applications that we're running run on extremely high-speed networks. The challenge is to be able to process and filter the packets as they're coming in a manner to protect the application in this high-speed environment.
New security solutions which are being developed allow companies to arm themselves against these types of threats. Radware is an example of a company in the forefront of this cybersecurity effort with their security switching solution, Defense Pro.
The Defense Pro is built to isolate any types of attacks that happen in the network. We're looking for various types of attacks such as viruses, Trojans, worms, denial of service attacks. This is all accomplished on a security switch platform which is built to work in some of the highest throughput environments in the world. We look for these attacks and in real time can identify, block, and prevent these attacks from actually getting into your network and doing damage.
A multi-layered defense solution is the only way to ensure complete and comprehensive security from today's attacks.
The Defense Pro offers a plug and defend technology that keeps your network free of attacks. This includes attack signature protection. It includes DOS attack protection, SYN flood protection, and anomaly detection. Additionally, we offer attack isolation, so if there is a part of your network that has been hit, we can isolate that attack there, deal with it there, rather than having it propagate across the network.
It's become apparent that modern-day thieves can steal more with a computer than a gun. So tomorrow's terrorists may be able to do more harm with a keyboard than a bomb. In the wake of 9/11, the nation's attention has been focused heavily on various dimensions of national security. And with the threat of new attacks looming, securing cyberspace may help secure more than we know. Securing cyberspace is critical to our nation's security. Each year, millions of dollars are lost to computer hackers. And now more than ever, companies are finding it necessary to make sure that the right people have access to the right information. Our next story shows us just one way to help with identity management. National security means different things to different people. For some, it's a military option. For others, the focus is on what is being kept secure.
In the last 3 years, protecting corporate data has moved from being important to being a board of directors level issue. It's a balance where you try to give access to data to everyone that needs it when they need it, but at the same time now being very careful that only the right people see the right information.
For years, businesses have tried to throw more and more people at the problem of identity management. However, this is not cost effective. As a matter of fact, it's cost prohibitive, and unfortunately, it's a must-do situation. Companies are losing to hackers, disgruntled employees, and information thieves. Not to mention the countless hours spent trying to prevent this. This not only threatens profits, it threatens our very way of life. Along with the protection of information assets, the key business driver of productivity must also be addressed. Competition, both at home and from abroad, is fierce. Solutions in identity management need to enhance the overall business as well as to protect information assets. The good news is there are information solutions available. One company, BMC Software, believes that the best approach to this challenge is to automate the identity management process itself. With an automated identity management solution, the entire information security cycle is simplified and, at the same time, enhanced. When employees change their status within a company, so does their access to information. Automation allows IT administrators to change that access from one central location, rather than having to access each application or platform an employee had access to in the past, or will have with their changed status. Security is dramatically improved because there is no gap in time between an employee's change in status and their new information access clearances or liabilities. With automated identity management, far fewer hours are devoted to identity and information management, significantly improving an employee's productivity and the company's bottom line.
Most of the popular press is focused on viruses and attacks from the outside. At BMC Software, we've really been focused on attacks from the inside. Identity theft is a huge issue and it's growing. We're focused on solving that problem and the issue of identity management.
As former President Calvin Coolidge once said, the chief business of the American people is business. When we ponder what makes America special, we think about freedom and opportunity, our greatest assets. As we look at the global situation, it's become evident that protecting our economy is our first line of defense in protecting those assets. Communication is critical when it comes to responding to and handling catastrophic events. Terrestrial-based communications often become disabled and can put a halt to daily business. But as our next story will show us, satellite-based communications can help keep our country in touch when it matters most. Homeland security is high on our list of national priorities, resulting in a growing need for enhanced capabilities in law enforcement, defense, emergency response, healthcare, and even business. In all of these areas, the need for reliable communication is critical. A major challenge for our communication infrastructure is that during a catastrophic event, ground or terrestrial-based communications are vulnerable and can become disabled. Fortunately, commercial satellite technology is providing answers to this challenge.
In the event of an emergency where we do lose local communications, we do have the capabilities via our command center all through satellite to be able to communicate to our officers out in the field or even agency to agency.
For example, one company, Americom Government Services, has been providing secure and reliable satellite services to all types of government agencies for 30 years. Americom Government Services has taken a proactive approach to new and evolving security challenges by providing something called Disaster Recovery Service. If communications in a geographical area become isolated due to a catastrophic event, the Disaster Recovery Service allows government agencies as well as private businesses to resume full T1 data, voice, video, and internet connections via satellite within 15 minutes of the event. In hospitals and government agencies, this capability can save lives or help minimize the impact of the event. Also, businesses can continue communicating, thereby lessening the economic fallout of the disaster. These very same commercial satellites provide other security services, such as systems assistance to unmanned aircraft like the Northrop Grumman Global Hawk. These vehicles, commonly called drones or UAVs, provide visual images via satellite of real and potential danger zones and are now being considered for Homeland Border Patrol missions.
We're anticipating a lot of development with the Coast Guard, with the Border Patrol, perhaps with the Secret Service, and with the Transportation Security Agency, the TSA, in a variety of applications. Mobile broadband is very exciting. And this is the ability to, in a vehicle, whether it's a land-based vehicle like a SUV, or an airborne vehicle like a UAV or even a jet, or a water-based vehicle like a Coast Guard cutter, to be able to send in and receive data at very high speeds while moving. It's a very exciting new development in technology that will support all the missions of Homeland Security.
The Department of Defense, the intelligence community, the Department of Homeland Security, as well as civilian emergency and law enforcement agencies all rely on commercial satellites to support their missions. As the requirements for protecting our homeland become more complex, it's reassuring to know that America's leadership in satellite technology is leading the way in finding new solutions for keeping our nation secure. Today we've shared some of the newest and most extraordinary technologies that are in place to help defend against threats in order to keep America safe. I'm John Holden saying goodbye, and thank you for watching National Security Close-Up. For more information on any of the topics you've seen on today's show, visit our website at vstar.com. Join us next time for a look at how companies are leading the way in technology, research, and development for both national and homeland security.